Hello everyone, welcome on into ClayShare's Live at 5. I'm Jessica Putnam-Phillips, and tonight we are doing Underglaze Decals Demystified. Oh yeah, I want to be demystified on Underglaze Decals, and I bet you do too. So if you have questions about Underglaze Decals, this is your chance. Come ask. I will help you solve your problems. If you have problems, if you don't have problems, come hang out and make pots anyways. So I'm going to make some things. I'm going to talk about using Underglaze Decals, also known as Underglaze Transfers, or for our friends in the UK, Underglaze Decals, right? I know, I could totally pass as British, right? I can say decal. So that's the plan tonight. It's going to be kind of chill because we are in the middle of getting ready for ClayShare Con, which is the biggest thing we do every year. It is 4 days of free online clay education, demos, tutorials, premieres of new products, special discounts, giveaways, and oh yeah, we're giving away a pottery wheel and an L&L kiln. That's a Speedball Artista pottery wheel, by the way. It's not just one of these like cheap things you get off Amazon. No. This is a real good wheel. I have one and I love it. So hi everybody, welcome on in. So this will be recorded for those of you who can't make the live session, and you can watch it over and over and over. So I've got some Underglaze decals. Now I do my own designs, and Sandbow Studios makes them and sells mine. So you can get my designs from Sandbow, not from me, but from Sandbow. But there's a lot of other great companies out there making Underglaze decals. Ceramica Transfers up there in Canada. We love Nikki at Ceramica Transfers. And Plum Island Transfers with Malin. If you get her transfers, she's got amazing designs too. You know I love them. And then Sandbow, which is ChinaClayArt.com. So, and there's Elon Transfers. I don't have any of her transfers, but we've chatted a few times, and she has great designs as well. So there's lots out there for you to use, and I'm just going to answer questions. I don't really have much of a plan tonight because I'm so busy with ClayShare Con, and that's kind of going to be the story of my life until it happens. For more information about ClayShare Con, if you go to ClayShareCon.com, you can see all the things from last year. This year's information will go up by the end of the month, so you'll find the schedule and the demo and all that stuff. And for the giveaways, well, you can just go to ClayShare.com and sign up for our email list. That's how you enter all the giveaways. We will be launching the new ClayShare platform, and when that happens, you definitely want to go and sign up for a free membership. Premium members, you guys will be taken care of, but you want to be a free member on ClayShare because there's going to be a lot of great perks for you, so you don't want to miss out on all of that. So let's just see what everybody's up to. I know, snowy in the south. It's just, weather's been really, really strange across the country, right? So, all right, so I'm just going to make pots. You hang out with me, watch me make pots, ask questions. I shall answer them as we get there. So I also am going to show you a few things I've done using Underglaze decals. So here's a haunted house one I did. This is from Sandbow. And then keeping with the Halloween theme, here's a cute pearly pink pumpkin. And these are on wheel thrown mugs, but absolutely you can put them on hand-built mugs. I have many other tutorials using Underglaze decals. I have one showing you how to wrap it around a handle, so the whole mug and the handle can have the Underglaze decal pattern on it. I have demos showing you how to put it on a wheel thrown piece, and then you actually throw and stretch the decal with the form you're making. We've done mugs with hand-built, with decals that are hand-built. We've done plates. Tonight I'm going to do a plate with you, a little small one, and maybe we'll do a cup. Don't know if we'll have time. So you're new to clay. Glad you found us in Australia. Carrie, welcome. Guess what? We have a huge number of members in Australia. So all of my ClayShare members who are from Australia, raise your hand. Come say hi to Carrie. And we should have like Clay Sharers Down Under. We should have a ClayShare Down Under group or something. If we don't have one, we should. So, so underglaze decals are exactly what you think they are. They are underglaze that has been screen printed onto rice paper. Now you can make your own underglaze decals or transfers, and I have a tutorial on showing you how to do monoprint style, where we use underglaze and you brush it onto newsprint or rice paper, and then you can apply it to your clay. So you can make your own, but to get really fine, intricate designs, you do want to do screen printing. Now, we are going to have a demo during ClayShare Con with Megan from Speedball, and she's going to be using the Speedball, I believe they're called Speedy Screens, to make underglaze decals and then use them. So you, oh my gosh, you're going to be so excited for that. I'm super excited for that. Now last year we had Kathy Skaggs join us for ClayShare Con, and she's actually coming back again this year representing Amico. And she did some really great printing on clay. So if you like printing on clay, if that is your jam, you got to go check out the last year's ClayShare Con and the year before. So 24 and 23, both of those, Kathy did some printing on clay, which was really, really fun. So you got to check that out. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I just got some clay over here, and I'll walk through and answer all the questions. Jo is in Australia. She's an Australian living in Canada. Wow, we have such an amazing community. Tried to go to my site. You went to clayshare.com. Just type in clayshare.com. You should get it. So you shouldn't have any problems. Am I running late? We are right on schedule. Okay. ClayShare.com is slow. I don't know what's going on over there. All right, some more show and tell. Yes? All right. So here is my Floral Batik Underglaze decal. That's a black and white design, but I went ahead and colored it in. So see how this is a black and white design? You can color these in, and we've done that. We did this demo, I think, on a live broadcast together. And I added these colors. They're from Colors for Earth. And then I put Mother of Pearl Luster. That's why it's so shiny and so, ooh, look at that over here. Look at all those colors. Isn't that beautiful? So you can hand color them if it's, like this is my red snowflake design. So it's already colored, it's just red. And then I put gold dots, right? Everybody can do dots, and that just makes it so fancy. Oh, look at the gold. Oh my gosh, look at that. So fancy, right? And the other thing about underglaze decals is I know they can be a little pricey when you start purchasing them, you know, and you're building up a collection, and especially if you're not making your own. So this is a class that I showed you how you can use underglaze decals, and I just cut them into strips. So we got a strip here, a strip, but it only goes down 2/3 of the way. A strip goes the full way, and this one comes up from the bottom. You see they play off each other. And this is a cup class that we have on ClayShare. It's a hand building class. It comes with a template. So you can make this cute little, I believe this is the wine cup. You don't have to put feet on it, but I did. These little cute ball feet. And this is actually my pen and pencil cup for the studio. So sometimes the class pieces I keep. So, all right. Here's one I did earlier, and this is what I think we'll do tonight, using the mushrooms, blue mushrooms. Just going to do some simple blue mushrooms. And the thing that I wanted to share, oh, I got to go grab, no, we'll make one. We'll make it from scratch. I have one partially made. We'll do it from scratch. I was going to go grab the other one, but no, we'll do it from the start. Okay. So I got a board to work on. You know, you can use anything to work on the surface. I could work on this wooden countertop if I wanted to. But what I like about using a board here is I can move it about if I need to. And this one is one that I was working on with a dark clay, and I don't know if you can see it, but I can, so I'm going to clean it. Because the clay I have tonight is bright white from Tucker's, which is a porcelainous clay. So it will be a bright white. And I don't want that dark clay to absorb into it. So you struggle in making things look colored-ish. What do you do? Like watercolor? So I do encourage you to go watch my tutorials that I have showing you how to do that. I do walk you through it step by step. And I know some people, when I do my classes, they're like, you talk too much. Okay, I was a college professor. I teach. This is what I do. And if you don't have someone explaining instructions, it's kind of hard to learn, especially when you're starting out. And I want you all to succeed. So that is why I talk a lot. Yes, I know. We don't want to listen to teachers, do we? No, you got to listen. So here, I'm smoothing my clay out because once we put the decal on it, I'm not going to be able to go back in and smooth the clay. If I try to, I will smear the decal. And I don't want to do that. So when I'm hand building a plate, especially when I have something like a template, this is from my ruffled rectangle set. So I've got this right here. And then I have a GR pottery form. I know that this is going to be the size of my plate. And that one's looking a little tiny. So let's grab another piece of clay. Let's grab a little bit bigger piece. I have a secret stash of clay off to the side. I would say some little elves came in and did it, but it was actually me. If I could get some studio elves, I'd be all into that, but no. I don't have any of those. All right, so we're going to smooth this one out, and I start with my slabs rolled out to 3/8 of an inch thick, and what that does is it allows me to have a piece of clay that's thick enough to do really large pieces if I want to, but also to do smaller pieces as well, just by thinning them down. You don't need it to be 3/8 of an inch thick if we're putting a decal on. We're not rolling texture in, so we're not worried about needing the thickness for that to stretch the clay. So I'm just going to thin it out a bit. So it's 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little thinner than 1/4 of an inch. But don't let that hold you back from making. Please don't, because the thickness of your clay is rather arbitrary. It really isn't the biggest, most important part of making. You love Wednesday nights, yes. You're a teacher and you like watching so you can unwind after a day of teaching. I love watching people make pottery. Absolutely. I will never get sick of it. All right, so here's my template. Just got to make sure it's going to fit, and it is. And then I'm going to cut some excess off. Actually, we can just cut the whole thing out. Let's go ahead and just use our template, and we'll just cut the shape out. So this is the easiest way to make a plate or a dish that you know you're going to use a decal on the entire surface. And this is clay I rolled out a couple hours ago. It's been sitting on my slab roller. If your clay is really wet when you first roll it out, you can just let it sit there in the air. It's like a fine wine, you know, you let it breathe. Let your clay breathe a little bit. That way it's not so floppy or sticky. This is your first time here, welcome in. I love all the new folks joining, or maybe it's just your first time making it to a live. A lot of people have been with us for a year or so, and they have not made a live because their schedule doesn't allow. So now I'm going to finish this edge, because once I add that decal, I'm not going to be able to go back and smooth the edge without smearing the decal. Now I'm just using my finger, damp sponge, smooth that all out. If you have any bumps or anything on your slab, you want to clean that off too now. So you get that all prepared. This is preparing your slab. All right, so we have a really nice looking slab. No matter what size plate I was making, I would do the same thing. I would make that. And then I'm going to take the rim template, because I want to have my decal cover the entire piece. And then here I have my sheet. Now when you cut your decals and you're working with them, make sure where you're working is completely dry. There's no chance you're going to drip water or get anything on your decals, because once they get wet, it activates that underglaze and then they can smear. And I don't want that to happen. So what I do is I'll take my rim template, or you could use a GR Pottery form. If I just wanted a square, you know, a rectangle to go on the inside, I could just use that. And then I'll take a marker, a Sharpie marker. Often if I'm going to do a Sharpie, I will actually turn my decal upside down, lay my template. Now, the template works perfectly with the width. I just need to cut down here. And so I made that mark. And you would just take your scissors and you would just cut along this mark. And I can easily see where that is. And you just cut it. And I have already done it. And what you end up with is this section, and then you get your bottom. And save these, even though they're small. I have a patchwork pottery class that's up there on ClayShare. And actually, this isn't too small. These actually could go on a mug. And there's lots of fun things you can do. So save all of your little trimmings and your little offcuts from your Underglaze decals. Put them in an envelope. You know, you can keep, if you get yours from Sambao, they give these, usually, I mean, I always get these big plastic sleeves. And you can stick them in there so you can see what you have in there. Or just a paper envelope. It doesn't matter. But you want to put them somewhere. Plastic is better. Your decals will last longer. Now, I hear people say decals last 6 months to a year. I have some decals that are 5 years old that I'm still using because they've been in the plastic. So they're perfectly fresh. Like, I'm not having any problems at all. So if you don't work with your clay right away, it cracks, yes, where it's folded. I will actually go over that in just a second. Why don't we'll talk about that. Let's go ahead and do our next step. So if your clay dries too much and you start, you got your slab and then you start to work with it, when it folds, right there on that crease where that fold happens, you can get cracking. And so what you do is you take a barely damp sponge and you compress and smooth it. And if that doesn't take care of it, you use a red rib and you gently smooth it with a red rib. That's one of these ribs right here, because they're very flexible. And I'm talking about this right here. This slab is wetter than this one was, so I can hold it and show you. But you just take your sponge and you wipe it along here and you compress those cracks. And all it means is that your clay was a little too dry when you worked with it. So what you need to do next time, you just keep in mind that it might be getting a little too dry and you work with it sooner. Because success in pottery is all about timing. Sambao Studios offering supplies to make your own. I love that. I love when we can, I love getting commercially made stuff, but I love it when we can make our own as well. All right, so I'm just going to lay this on the entire surface. Come this way a little bit. And then I just kind of rub it on to make sure it's stuck on there. Now, because the clay was freshly rolled out, that moisture in the clay is going to start working pretty quickly. And you could use a little brayer or a pony roller. This is just a little wooden roller. Doesn't have a texture on it. And I'm just doing this to seat the decal on the clay. And this is so it won't slide around or go where it shouldn't go. And you can actually see, it's like magic. It's starting to change right before our eyes. Do you see how the color is darkening? And it's becoming more rich. Now, I'm just going to use this yellow rib to make sure there's no air bubbles in there. The brayer helps to do that as well. And then we just wait. With wetter clay, you don't have to wait as long. With drier clay, you'll have a little bit longer of a wait. Just be patient. You can peel a little corner up and check, and we could do that, but I will tell you, I don't think it's ready. Yeah, see how we have a little patchiness? I don't know if that's coming through. So I'm just going to put this down. This mushroom pattern, oh my gosh, I had so much fun. I made this one ages ago. I mean, this is like a 6-year-old, 7-year-old design. And I had the best time drawing these little mushrooms. And it's also available as a rolling pin, I think only as a 12-inch. I don't think I've done it as a 7-inch yet. I'm so sorry. My phone is on Do Not Disturb, yet it still rings. Go figure. So I'm just pouncing my sponge, putting a little bit of moisture into the clay to help that transfer to happen. You love Underglaze Decals? Woo! Yeah. I'm glad you love Underglaze Decals. They are so fun. And here's the thing. Even if you buy designs you didn't make, right? A lot of us do. It doesn't matter. You make them your own by what you do with them. So you can change things up. And there's many ways you can use it with a stencil. You can use it as a resist. All right, I'm going to do a little quick peel check. So let's go ahead and find, we'll do it over here. We'll check that mushroom. Grab the corner. It's a little patchy still, so I'm just going to pounce it a tiny bit more. Make sure all the mushrooms get pressed. So these mushrooms show up in many of my designs. Whenever I'm putting a mushroom in, one of these little guys is usually one I pick to put in. So I think it's my Spring Bunnies has these mushrooms in it. I don't know what other ones might. I have to look and see where else I've put these mushrooms. They end up visiting other designs. So you put your decals in a large plastic bag so your entire sheet stays flat. Yes. And if you keep them in the original packaging, the decals folded in half over a few weeks, your decals will crack. I've not had that, and I keep mine folded, so definitely I love the suggestion. This one I've had for over a year, and I don't have any cracking where it's folded, but I love the suggestion of a large envelope so it can lay open, right? So that you can have the full sheet with no creases too, which is really nice. So I think that's a great suggestion, and it will prevent creases and cracking. So that's like a 2-for-1. Thank you for that suggestion. All right, let's peel. Let's peel and reveal. This is the best part. And I don't know what camera's better. I feel like there should be a little like ta-ta-da-da-ta. I don't know. There should be something happening. There should be music. If I had a house band, we need to petition to get a house band for ClayShare. Oh, look, it looks so good. So this is actually a cobalt blue. Right now it looks more of a brighter blue, but it actually will go darker after it's fired. It'll be a darker blue. And do you see, sometimes I peel it and I'm like, oh, that needs another little patting. So you go back in, you pat, 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 and then you can pull it off. Now, if the very edges, you got a little bit that the transfer is not covering, I will go in with some dark blue underglaze at the end, which let's set this one aside because look, do you see the shine? I don't know if you can really see it. The underglaze on here is really wet and it could smear right now. So I have two choices. I can take cornstarch and I can pounce that on the surface and that will set it, but it also starts to dry my clay out. Or I can just set this to the side for like 3 minutes, if that, and the surface will dry enough so it won't smear. That peel I did in the preview clip was so satisfying. Oh, isn't that? The peel is always so satisfying. Any kind of peel, texture peel, underglaze peel, it's just that, I don't know, it's so good. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I have the one I made a little earlier. I actually made this today and it's almost completely, I mean, it's past leather hard. This will be ready, don't tell, but it'll be ready maybe tomorrow for a bisque firing. So your pieces can actually be ready pretty fast. I'm kind of surprised sometimes when they're ready that quickly, but it happens. All right, so I'm just going to take a Sumi, S-U-M-I brush. These are a bamboo handle calligraphy brush. And you can get them at most art supply stores. I believe Dick Blick sells them pretty much everywhere. And then this is Speedball Royal Blue. underglaze, and this matches perfectly with the sandbow blue. And I want you to notice, I don't know, you can tell on the overhead, do you see, let's see if I can pull this in, do you see the tonal difference between these two? This color here, this is the color it will be when it's fired, the wet color. When it starts to dry, do you see how light and bright that looks? This is not the color it will be. This is before firing. Once it's fired, it'll go dark blue, and I will show you a piece that's done with the same color. So you have a question. Sometimes your transfers will fire in pinhole, and you don't have pinhole issues normally just with transfers. Not all of them, but some of them. So a lot of times the transfer, because of the thickness of the underglaze, that you can get some pinholing. So make sure you have a really good clear glaze, and you want to make sure you have a hold on that firing. You might need a little extra. Also, because I'm applying this to the greenware piece, this is going to be bisque fired. Make sure you do a nice slow bisque. That'll help. And then go ahead and do a hold on your glaze. So I've got the underglaze here, and I'm just going to take the brush, and I'm just going to do a very simple border. And I'm just barely going to come in on the edge. And this will finish it off in case I don't have any underglaze right to the edge. I also, even when the underglaze goes to the edge, I really like the finished look. And I'm going to come in just about, oh, I'd say maybe 1/4 of an inch all the way around. Do you see that right there? And then you get the sides, want to get the side. I'm just holding my brush upright for the side. And then we'll come down this side here. And I have a great tip for those of you who struggle using a brush to get a nice even line, like I'm doing here. And it can be difficult to have a consistently even line. You can get stencil brushes, the pouncing brushes, the ones made of foam, and you can use those for your border. And I will show you a platter that I did last fall using Plum Island transfers and that pouncing brush. And so look, I have this really nice border. And the only thing I'll need to do to this is bisque fire, clear glaze, and it's done. Now, of course, I could use translucent glaze like a Celadon. So this would look nice, I think, with the Himalayan blue poppy. So it would be blue on blue, not blue and white. What do you think? See how it finishes it? Now let me show you the one that I pounced. That's over here. I actually have a couple other options too. So this one, I don't know if we can zoom out enough to show you on the overhead. I can just show you the edge. So these are those transfers from Plum Island Transfer. One of my favorite ones she's done. I went ahead and put them on and then clear glazed it. And after it was bisque fired, I went in with that same royal blue. See how dark the blue is? Sorry about the glare. That's the mother of pearl luster. And I pounced. I just used the pouncer, and I did the edge, and I did go in and do a brush line on the back. I just felt like it needed that to finish it, but it's okay if it's slightly uneven. No one's going to be looking at the back of your platters and grading you, so don't worry about that. And then after it was glaze fired, I did do a third firing, and that's the luster. You see that surface there, all that movement, and oh, look at the iridescence. Yeah, that's the luster. But if it didn't have the luster, it would be just as beautiful and easier to see on camera. So this is a very handy way to do your border. And another way you can deal with the border, if your underglaze decal is not as big as the plate or platter you're making, guess what? Here's one I did, and my underglaze decal stopped right, you can't tell, but it stops here, right here. It's done. There's no more decal. It's all gone. But what I did is when it was time to glaze it, I used, I believe, I have to think for a minute, this is Amico Blue Rutile and honey flux on the rim. And that's the glaze that I put on here, but clear in the center, and then those two Amico glazes, and it created this blue cloudy surface, and it hides the fact that there was decal. Actually, here's a, look, do you see the tiny bit of red right there? Do you see that? That was a little bird, there's a cardinal hiding over there, but only I know that, and now a few thousand of you. But that's a great way to hide your, to hide the edges. A glaze will hide it. And this one I made a couple of years ago, I think 2022 I made this one. So this is a couple of years old now. But this is one I kept for me to use for the holidays. And so far it hasn't left the studio. It keeps being used for display. This is my cardinals and birches design. I believe the blue one is out of stock currently, but you can get it in the other patterns, the other colorways on Sambow. But I love that, and it's so fun to use on just about any surface. Can you brush clear glaze over the transfers? All right, I have done demos showing you how to do that, because the transfers, until they have glaze over them, they are not set. So once they're bisque fired, if you rub them, they could smear. So you've got to be careful, and when you do your glaze, you're going to use ideally a fan brush or a hake brush, something big that'll hold a lot of glaze if you're brushing on glaze. And you're going to float it across the surface, and you're just going to do it quickly. Don't go back and forth. If you need a second coat, just do your first very, very smoothly and evenly. Let it dry and then do your second. If you're concerned, you can take a break, let it dry and come back. Dip and pour, you don't really have to worry about it because you dip in and out, or you just pour, you're not touching and smearing. But I have done demos showing how you can do that with the brush on and to prevent the smearing. Glazing, did I call it glazing with underglaze decals? Glazing underglaze decals? I have to figure out. All right, so here we have our piece that's ready to go. And I'm just going to go ahead now. Normally I do a pressed dish. Actually, yeah, let's do that. I'm going to go grab my foam over here, my craft foam. Upholstery foam, actually. Sorry. This was a memory foam pillow that I cut up. You can see it's missing some of it. And it lives in the studio. My mom gave this to me. And every time I pull it out, I have to thank my mom, because I don't think she gave it to me knowing I was going to use it in the studio. But thanks, Mom. This is a great one. I have a bigger chunk of foam, but I love the depth of this. You know, I would say that's a 3-4 inch deep piece of upholstery foam. So memory foam pillow, you can go to Joann's or any other store that sells upholstery foam and pick a chunk up. And I actually have a bigger piece that's about, what, 2.5 by 2.5, like 30 inches by 30. It's fabulous. I love it. I used to recommend people, when you would see an old sofa or a chair somebody was giving away at the side of the road, that you stop and you take the cushion. But that causes problems, because one, if you take the cushion, now people don't want the chair or sofa, right? The other thing is, what if it's been sitting there for a while? Do you really want that cushion? You don't want that. You don't want that cushion that's been sitting there. Who knows what is living in it? So don't do that. Just don't. If it's somebody you know and they're giving away a cushion, okay. Your mom gives you a pillow, okay. But other than that, I would not. Just random side of the road, sofa, chair. Just I don't want you introducing things to your house. All right, so I'm just going to line this up from above, approximately centered, and then I like to look at it, pull it up to my eye level, and make sure it's centered. If it's a little bit off, it's okay. I feel like it's got to come up just a fraction. All right, this is my favorite. Has anybody talked about doing transfers inside a bowl or a cup? So that's a little trickier. It can be done, but you got to figure out how to get the transfer to be curled up so you can press it down in. And I honestly haven't come up with a way to do that other than when you print, like with, if you have a form that you print onto and then press in. Maybe that's something we can ask Kathy Skaggs. I think she would have an answer for us. Oh, let's use this one. All right, we did a press, flip it over. The great thing about press plates is we can immediately remove the form, and then we have our plate. And that's one of the reasons I've always loved the press plates, because you only need one form. You don't have to buy multiples, unless you're teaching a bunch of people and then they'll all want theirs. But look at, there's our cute little plate. It has to set up till it's leather hard. And then if you have any edges on the bottom to smooth out, you know, I like to smooth that. And then you could do your border like I did, and ends up looking kind of like that right there. Use the foam leg rests that where your mom and your husband's, oh, yes. Oh, Marge, it's such a great way to use that. And then it's like they're with you there, right? So can you brush clear glaze? Okay, we got to that one. Let's see if any other questions. So you go to upholstery shops and ask for leftover scraps. That is a great idea, because if it's a scrap that nobody wants, why not get that? That way it's being used and not going to the landfills, right? You accidentally dumped a half a cup of Clinton Pottery Red into a gallon of Clayscapes cream. Did you just turn your cream pink? Donna, you did something to your cream. A half a cup into a gallon, you might have a pink blush going on. The only thing you can do now is mix it up really, really well with a mixer and do a test tile and see what happens. You might get a cream that has a slight blush to it. It might be fine, because cream is very opaque. Clinton Pottery Red's very strong. I would test. I wouldn't throw it out, but also if you find that you have tinted your cream glaze, it's a separate glaze now. Don't add more cream into it. You know that, right? So just, you might have to get another batch of cream. Oh, I hate that though. So if you do your transfer on a pre-cut slab for a mug, do I leave it on till I assemble, then peel? Yes, I do. So in my hand building class where we use the Underglaze Decal or Underglaze transfer, I do leave it on, absolutely. And I did a making your own Underglaze transfer and using it on a mug. Kev, do you have the one I did for CCSA? We could maybe share that link. Folks can check that out. And that was 2019. I did that. And it's a really great one, because I do leave the transfer on until I assemble the mug. Do we have time? What do we have for time? Let me see. 20 minutes. I can do a mug. And it will be absolutely awesome, because I have got the marbled mug template. Premium members, this is the template we used to make our amazing drippy mugs. It's also the template I used to make these. Yes, I know I'm having a mushroom situation. I don't need to be reminded. There's a mushroom thing happening in my life. But these mushroom mugs, it's the same template. So you guys can go download it. It's attached to the Drippy Mug class. If you're not a premium member, go sign up for the free trial, and then you get the template. It's like, go do it. It's easy. Easy. All right, so here we go. We're going to use a template, and I have to pick a pattern. What do you guys think of these Matisse-inspired decals with like the lady figures on here? I think these are pretty interesting. I kind of want to use them. What do you guys think? I also have, oh, I wonder if we could use these. Wait a minute. I have the, I have a lot in here. I've got the beachy ones, like I'm on Take Me Away to a Tropical Vacay, right? I think the palm trees, we're gonna do palm trees. I'm sorry, I was gonna give everybody a choice, and then I decided that, no, I'm gonna just pick for you. But this will be good, because I get to show you how you can use, that one's, this palm tree is up in the water of the decal above it. That's all right. We'll pretend it's the sky, whatever. It's fine. Okay. How fast can you make a mug? I can make a mug pretty fast, actually, but we'll do it together. We'll do it together. So you bought foam that's thick and hard. Is there such a thing as foam that's too hard? There sadly is. Sometimes the foam is just too dense. As it ages, sometimes it gets really hard. And I know it's so disappointing because now you've got this foam and you can't really use it for pressing in your clay. It'll actually crush your clay instead of make your nice little press plate. But if you haven't tried it, if you already have it, give it a try, see what happens. If it works, awesome. If not, check out Joann's or another fabric supply store. I did hear a rumor that Joann's is filing for bankruptcy and that they're being bought out by Big Lots. So I'm disappointed by that because I love Joann's. So that could mean Joann's is going away. All right, so here I've got a slab of clay. Again, it's that same piece of clay I was working with earlier that I rolled out to 3/8 of an inch. And I'm going to go ahead and smooth the surface because it does have canvas texture. Let me get rid of that. They did file. Oh, you saw that? So is there a way to make your own transfers? There is, Sharon. I have a class on making your own monoprints, which is a really fun, direct way, an expressive way to make your own. But you can actually use your own with silk screens and make your own. Amico has these great Underglaze inks. We're going to have Kathy Skaggs from Amico here with us during ClayShare Con. And we're going to have Megan from Speedball both doing demonstrations. They will touch on printing on clay. Megan's going to be using the speed screens from Speedball. So I think that's going to be wonderful. You all will get to learn about using those. And did I get both sides? I did. About using those and how to make your own. So yeah, there is a way. Absolutely. You can do it. If you can dream it, you can do it. All right, so here's the marble mug template. And this file with the class has you'll see two documents. You'll see one that's paper that you can print out as just a paper version. You'll also see one that'll work for your Cricut, Silhouette, whatever you have for a die cutting machine. So if you have that, you can just take the file, put it in your Cricut. That's what I did. And my Cricut cut it out for me. All right, so here is my mug shape. We won't have time to do handle, but if you followed me, you've seen me do handles. If you're new to ClayShare, go search up handle. And I'm sorry you'll be overwhelmed by the amount of handles. There's a lot. We like to get a handle on it here. I think, yeah, I got a little bit wide over here. Let me trim that up. But it's good to have many options when you're making a handle, right? Should always have options. So I'm just smoothing this out. And exactly like I did, oh, this is going to be so pretty. I can already see it with like pinks and purples and blues and some teal. And I'm going to mother of pearl luster it. This is awesome. So we're going to go ahead and line it up. So some of the decal won't be here. Like the clay stops and there's more palm trees, but that's okay. All right, so that's smooth. You are next to the Easy Screen booth at ClayCon West. They have new owners, 2 brothers. Oh, very cool. So you've got Easy Screen Print, and then you have Speedball, which has their own as well. So I'm really excited that there's options for folks that want to make their own screens. That's something I've been interested in and I haven't had a moment to do. Look, I'm still trying to make a jelly plate. Okay, raise your hand if you watched Kathy's demo last year during ClayShare Con and you bought all the supplies to make a jelly plate and haven't made one yet. It's almost a year. So I am 100% guilty of that. I have not made a jelly plate. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch that with Kathy. It was so informative. Okay, so we've got our decal on. Just gonna give it a little, oh, thank goodness the decal's there. Did you see what I did? Live TV, watch out. Anything can happen. We're gonna have a blue sky. Luckily that was on the actual decal. Okay, now, oh, I didn't grab my slip because I'm like, I'm not making anything that needs slip tonight. Wrong. I am. Okay, let me grab my serrated rib. Yes, ClayShare Con is recorded. And guess what? This year is our 6th year doing it. So you know what that means? There are 5 years waiting for you. If you're new to ClayShare Con and ClayShare, 5 years. Just 5 years. Last year we had over 350,000 people watching the live, not the people who've watched since the year. I don't even know how many people that is, but 350,000 people watched ClayShare Con live last year, like during the event. When I found that out, I was like, oh, so just a few people, right? 350,000 is a lot. So I slipped and scored, and now I'm gonna go ahead and do my overlap. I'm actually gonna turn this upside down because I'm right-handed, and for me, it's more comfortable for me to do my fold over this way. So we'll go to camera, let me pull this up. We'll go to camera 2 so I can show you my overlap. You refer back to the videos often. There's such a wealth of information. I don't know how much you're gonna be able to see because I've got the Underglaze decal in the way, but I think you can kind of see I just peel it back enough so I can do my join and roll it up. If your hands get dirty, just clean them off. Just clean it off. And then I take, doesn't matter which side, I'm just going to take this side and it's going to come over the join. I will put a handle on this little cup, although if I didn't want to, didn't have to, but I will. All right, so we'll leave the underglaze transfer on. This is good for 2 things. One, I'm not going to smear my underglaze decal or transfer, and it gives it plenty of time to actually do the transferring. All right, so I'm smoothing out the inside seam right here. And there, we have a little cup. Believe it or not, I am going to quickly make a bottom. Let me grab a piece of clay. And say you had a little chunk of leftover decal, you could use that and stick that on the bottom. I'm going to make this bottom bigger. No, let's do 4. I thought about doing 4.5. Do you want to stretch it out? Or push it in? Tuck it in. I think I'm going to tuck it in. Okay, so this is going to be the bottom. And then we'll go ahead and slip and score. So the full length hand building a mug with this template, we've done a couple times. We did marble mugs with this template, and we did the drippy mugs last week. So if you want a more in-depth tutorial on how to make a mug, check those out. I'm just gonna flip this over. Make sure you've curled your underglaze decal up so that it's not getting caught in your join, because that would be a mess to clean up. It really would. right. Shape the top a bit. If you don't have a rim cone, that one's too big, I need my smaller one. Or Debbie has a great one too, and I think I have hers on here, I do. She's got a cone one too, just to get your shape. Or you can use a terracotta pot. They all work. Alexandria Pottery Co. has these yellow ones. All right, shall we peel and reveal? I still have to finish the bottom, but let's see. You want to peek? We'll go in close. Come in. I'll come to you. You come to me. We'll move clutter. Oh, yeah. Oh, are you guys ready? All right, so no pressure for me or anything. Like, I hope it's stuck on. Ready? Ooh. Ah, look at that tropical vacation. Oh, there's the cabins I'm going to stay in. Actually, I guess they're little huts, not cabins. There's the hut I'm going to stay in. My decal got very wet. Did you see it tore? Hold on. We got to go back and get it. There it is. I got so caught up in being away in vacation that I didn't realize that part of my decal stayed behind. Ooh, here come some palm trees. Aruba, Jamaica, ooh, I want to take ya. Bermuda, Bahama, come on pretty mama. Key Largo, Montego, baby, why don't we go? Okay, that's what you get, a little serenade. There's our little cup. And then, of course, you can shape it. You can add volume to it. You can do all kinds of fun things to it. I'm going to go ahead and finish my seam on the inside and finish the seam on the outside. And that'll take care of that. Easy peasy. Tropical vacation-y. There could be a lot of fun made with these decals, I think. So there's the seam on the bottom, and then I'm going to go in and clean up the very bottom. So do I have classes on how to use a Cricut or Silhouette? We have done a quick little demo in a Good Morning ClayShare. I believe Kevin did a little demo on using the Cricut, but I will tell you, because I really am focused on teaching you all making pottery, although there's a lot of great things we can use a Cricut with, and there's a great, some great groups out there. But there's a woman on YouTube, I think, and her name is Jennifer Maker, and she is fabulous. She's a great resource for using the Cricut. And Silhouette has their own site. It's the Silhouette School, or they used to. I don't know if they still have it. So here's my seam. It just needs a little cleaning up. I'm just going to go in with my finger and smooth it out a bit. And I'm not going to stress too much about the seam because I will go ahead and add my handle there. So there's a cute little cup. Do we want to add volume? I mean, always. Jess is singing Prime Time's going to be fun. So would the decal paper burn away during bisque firing? Yes, but if you leave it on there, any little wrinkle, if any of the decals caught in it, what could happen is it could actually leave behind little like artifacts. It can leave behind funny bits where the decal's not stuck on enough. You really need to remove it before firing. It's not meant to fire in the kiln if some of it gets stuck. Also, I think some of the decal, as it dries, the underglaze can pull back onto the paper, and not all of it will be on your clay. So you definitely want to remove the paper. All right, so for the outside, I'm going to get your hands as dry as possible. You don't want wet hands, but if you want to add volume to the outside, and if you need to cup it, you need a very dry hand as you work. And make sure your underglaze decal is completely dry. All right, so there's a little bit of voluming. But honestly, I think I'm just going to leave the cup. I think it looks good as is. So, and I'll go in and clean up that edge. How do I put on a handle without smudging? So once I put my handle on it, the handle doesn't scooch around. Like where the join is for the handle, it goes right on and then is attached. I have a full-length class showing you how to use Underglaze decals on a mug and actually how to wrap the Underglaze decal around the handle. Then you attach your handle to the mug. Go check that class out. It'll teach you a lot about using Underglaze decals. It's a wheel throwing class, but the part with the handle doesn't matter. That would work for this as well, or anything. And also for attaching. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry. I don't know why my phone is ringing when it is on Do Not Disturb, but apparently everybody wants to call me. They're like, oh, she's working. Let's call her. This slab was 3/8 of an inch when it started, but after I thinned it down a bit, it's 1/4 of an inch, approximately. Oh, what diamond core tool did I use? This is one of their new sculpting tools. It is the SC4. And I've been using that because it does a nice job of finishing the bottoms. I haven't used them for anything else yet, though. I've just been using them on the bottom. And it has this nice little sharp point. There. All right, I got to quit fooling with that because I have to get ready for prime time, our next class. So we'll be doing fancy slip trailing, or as fancy as I get with slip trailing, which is not that fancy, I promise. I do have other classes on slip trailing, and I don't do a lot of slip trailing, but I thought this would be really fun to show some other options for slip trailing, so we're doing that next. Now I know there's a lot more questions to do with Underglaze decals, and we have done quite a few classes and live broadcasts showing you how to use them. So if you have more questions, go watch those. If after watching those you still have questions, message me. I'll answer them to the best of my ability and hopefully be able to help you solve any problem you're having. Things in pottery can seem overwhelming and difficult when you first start, but after a while, it all makes sense. So, and know you have this wonderful community here for you. With any questions, we're here to support you and help you out. If it's not me, somebody else has an answer for you, and they would be happy to help you. So thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. This has been it's always so fun to share Underglaze decals. I just really love them. I think they're another tool that can help elevate our pottery and kind of make it more personal because you pick the design you like. Like I picked this cute tropical beach. I'm going to make it look like a 1980s era airbrush t-shirt that you'd pick up at the beach. That's what I'm going for with this when I glaze it. So if you love the 80s, you're going to love this mug when it's done. I'll share it when it's finished with you all. All right, thank you everybody for being here tonight. Be back with another Live at 5 next week. My premium members, I will see you in about 15 minutes. But until we meet again, make great pots with Underglaze decals.